did a two-part video on making a reloading kit for the 410 shotgun. The brass shells that I used from that video, I said were fire formed from the 303 Enfield. After I got through that video and was putting everything back, I decided to fire form some more 303 Enfield brass, and as I was digging them out, I came across a box of 8x57 JRS that were brand new, and I remember buying those years ago for, you know, probably $10 or $15. And checking them out, they're dimensionally close to the 303 Enfield. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do a fire forming comparison between the 303 Enfield Surplus and the new JRS brass. And no matter which way it goes, I'm also going to load a special cartridge for the 410. So let's go in the shop and get started on this little project. The shells that I'm going to use for fire forming are Surplus 303 Enfield shells, and the new shells that I'm going to use are 8x57 JRS shells. The reason why I want to use these is because I won't have to convert them from Bearden to boxer primers. And I don't ever plan on owning an 8x57 JRS. I got these shells new on the cheap. Now, this shell is dimensionally about the same as the 303 Enfield, other than the fact it has an extractor groove right here. I don't know what head stamp this is on this particular shell, but I have found that head stamps that are deep embossed into the head of the case produces a better shell and won't blow out. Now, shells with this particular head stamp and markings on them, I believe, are of Indian manufacturer, and stay away from these because every one that I have ever tried to fire form has blown the sides out of them. And like I said, they're junk. One of my test guns that I'm going to use for test fitting these shells is a Super Comanche in 410 45 Long Colt. And I'm just going to take and drop the shell in there. And see, you can see in there that it fits just perfect. It closes up fine. Ejects fine. And now I'm going to try the 8x57 JRS. And like I said, it fits in there just right, closes up just right, and ejects right. So I have no problem fitting them in this gun. So now I'm going to try my other test gun. The second gun I'm going to try is my New England Firearms Partner 410 shotgun. And again, I'm going to try the JRS first. And like I said, it closes up pretty good. And as you hope you heard that, it just ejected the hell out of it. Next, I'm going to try these Surplus 303 shells. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's not letting me close the chamber all the way. And that is because the rim thickness on this 303 case needs to be filed down. The first step I normally take in fire forming these shells is annealing the neck right here, because if I don't, they'll literally just split or blow out. So to do that, I'm going to take a trim pilot from a 30-30 and I'm just going to kind of put it up in the flash hole and then chuck the whole thing up in my drill and spin it and heat it with a torch. And that's kind of the color that I'm looking for. And then I'm just going to take and drop them in some water. So this is kind of what you want to look for when you anneal your cases so that you don't over anneal them. Now that I have my JRS cases annealed, I'm going to move on to my 303 Enfield cases. And the first thing I'm going to have to do is knock back this rim a little bit. And I try to do it from the inside of the shell rather than on the outside so that I can keep my head stamps. That's just me. I like them neat like that. So I'm just going to take my 30-30 pilot and stick it inside the case. Chuck it in there, and I'm going to put me a little clamp to hold my drill motor open. And then I'm just going to take a file and start filing it back. Then I'm going to take some off the diameter of it. And then I'm going to test fit it in the shotgun because it seemed like these cases were having the hardest time in it, and it locked up positively that time. And they eject great. So I'm on the right way with it. So I'm going to consider that case to be good. So there's one down and 19 to go. Now that I have the heads on all my surplus shells filed down and fitting my 410 shotgun, I've got to drill out these Bearden primers to convert them into boxer primers. And to do that, I'm just going to use a number 8 drill. And I put my shells in a special holder, aka a piece of wood with a bunch of holes drilled in it, then cut in half. And I'm just going to use the holes where the firing pin struck the primer. What I'm doing is I'm drilling through the old primer and leaving a shell on the outside of it, and I'm drilling down all the way through the anvil of the Bearden primer. So when I go back through these with a smaller drill bit, I'll already have like an indentation from the drill to use as my starting point for it. Next, I'm going to take about a 1/16 bit and drill me a new flash hole in all these. With my 303 Enfield cases ready to accept boxer primers, I've got to anneal these as well. With both cases annealed, here's kind of a comparison of the two. Like I said, this is the surplus shell, and this would be the factory JRS shell. So now we're ready to add some primers to them. I've got all of my surplus cases primed, and I only primed one of the JRS cases because this is a test case. So now I'm ready to add like a small charge of powder, a wad, then some cornmeal, and then another wad and fireform. For wad, I'm just going to use a paper towel and tear off a piece of it, stuff it down in the case, like so. And I'm just going to take a piece of a fishing rod and push it down in there. And next I'm going to add in some cornmeal. And I'm going to start packing that in there until I fill the case. I filled the case with cornmeal up till about right here where the neck starts, and then I'm going to add another wadding. And again, I'm just going to use another piece of paper towel and then tamp it down in there. And what this will do is give it enough back pressure to expand the case. So there we go. So this one is ready to go. And this is the JRS, and I'm going to go ahead and test fire it to see how it's going to do. So here's the results of the fireforming. This is the surplus 303 Enfield shell, and I used the same charge on it as I did the JRS shell that is new. And as you can see, the body of it looks pretty much dimensionally the same as it did as the original. It just blew the neck out a little bit. And by comparison, here's an unfireformed 303 Enfield shell. So like I said, they look, pretty much the same. By comparison, here is the JRS shell. Lay the two side by side, and it actually looks like a 410 brass shell. And I used the same powder charge on this one as I did on the surplus. And all around, the JRS fireformed better than the surplus 303 Enfield shell. And like I said, I did each of them the same annealing, powder charge, amount of cornmeal, wadding, and so forth and so on. So I think I'm going to put the rest of my surplus 303s back in the bin for right now and continue on fireforming the JRS shells. So I ended up getting 6 of the JRS shells fireformed, and the reason why I only got 6 is quite honestly it's getting late in the evening and time to go in the house, eat dinner, that kind of good stuff. And as you can see, they all fireformed fairly consistent. So I'm going to consider these ready to reload. Now, having said that the Indian brass is inferior as far as that goes, I think that I'm going to load these as an Ishapur musket type cartridge. To do that, I have a bullet mold that is approximately a 44 caliber bullet mold. I got this years ago for like 10 bucks or whatever. And this is the mini ball that it produces. And like I said, I'm going to load these kind of like for an Ishapore musket. I know these type cartridges are highly collectible, so to speak, and they're kind of hard to come by nowadays. So I think I'm just going to make some using the mini ball and the newly formed JRS brass. And to do that, I'm just going to use my 410 reloading kit that I made in another video. So there we go, an Ishapore musket cartridge. So there you have it. The 8x57 JRS can be fire formed into a 410 shot shell. And by using the 8x57 JRS, it'll save me a lot of time at the reloading bench by not having to convert the 303 Enfields from Bearden to boxer primers. So thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all next time.